Welcome, my friends, to another round of TAM on random electronic stuff. Today, we are going to look at an HP 53310 modulation domain analyzer. I will have a video explaining the role of the modulation domain analyzer and what the modulation domain is shortly. And if you subscribe today, you will get a notification when it pops up in my channel. This one here is working. I always keep the brightness low to let the screens live longer, but this one definitely is working. And it's working again because a week ago it looked like this. I have to apologize a bit, guys, because I repaired the MDO quite some time ago, and back then I didn't think about making a video. So we have to make do with some pictures and some lab notes. If you have the problem which you saw in the video, or if you didn't overhaul your MDO's power supply yet, then this here is the source of the problem. It's a power supply made by a company called Boeschert, and basically the unit is, my tablet doesn't like me, but you see, this here is the unit and it's inside the MDO. And to access the unit, in the first place, you need to open the screws on the sides, and then you need to remove the cabinet from the unit. And then here there are some plastic bars, and these plastic bars need to go out. And how that's done, I'll show you in a little video. We are now eye to eye with the face of Sauron. The cartridge slides out towards you if you remove the two plastic levers keeping it in place. It's much like a shashlik skewer. So, when you've opened the cabinet, you will see the cartridge in situ like this. And here there are two connectors which you have to pull out. And then you can take the cartridge out and you can sit it on your desk, completely independent of the rest of the unit. And well, these screws also need to go, and then you'll end up with something which looks a lot like this. The most important part here are these caps. Most of these, especially these, are leaking on every single Boeschert PSU. And you should give them as fast as possible, so before they have done much corrosion damage. And the trick is this: in the first step, with a scalpel, you cut through these rubber elements and through the cable ties, and then you desolder them one by one. In practice, this might sound difficult, but it actually isn't. Even these reinforced areas aren't particularly difficult to solder, especially if you have a friend who pulls the cap out while you work. Essentially, you can bust up the caps as much as you want, because they're all crap anyways. Just get them out with minimal damage to the PCB. And one more important bit of advice. I know it sounds old school, but it's important. After every single joint you touch, you must wash the tip like this. You put yourself a bowl with some water, and you put some toilet paper in the water. And you take the toilet paper and you wipe the tip like this if it's sparkling. If you don't do it, the gunked up electrolyte will hinder the heat transfers and will make the desoldering an annoying and really tedious bit of work. When the desoldering is done, you'll find electrolyte gunk. It looks approximately like this. And this gunk must go. And basically, for getting rid of the gunk, I suggest that you get some cotton swabs, like the ones you use to get rid of the earwax, and IPA. And you just wipe until the planar is nice and clean again. And one more area to really keep an eye on are the voltage regulators. I don't have a picture of them, but they have 3 terminals. They are more or less classic 3-terminal voltage regulators. And they need to be absolutely clean of electrolyte. Because if that's not the case, then there might be some crawling currents which mess up the power supply. And then essentially all the caps go in again. Be aware that they are polar, and then you reassemble the unit, and basically you are good to go. Now it's back to me again. As said, I have to apologize for the bad picture quality, as I originally didn't think about making a repair video. Basically, at this point in the procedures, your MDO should be ready to run. When buying the caps, I displayed you the list before. You should pick some proper quality low ESR capacitors as to make sure that the problem doesn't occur again half a year or so later. And then there is one more bit of advice, because some of these Boeschert power supplies, especially if they are very old and if the corrosion is very heavy, they are unrepairable. And in that case, you can also build a replacement power supply using other switching power supplies from Meanwell or similar companies. And now I will show you the theoretic basics for doing this. For the 53310A, the schematics might not be available online, but you can purchase them from a company called Artec. I'm not sharing mine. This is the only snippet you'll see. It's in the CLIP component level information package. And right here you see the various voltages being generated by the Boeschert power supply. This is the connector. So in principle, you just need to make sure that you get these voltages right. And when you have them, you can power your MDO. There might be some noise problems. I'm trying to track down the guy who had the idea with the Meanwell in the first place, and will try to let you know and do some comparisons with my unit to find out what actually changed. So, with that, we are done for today. I wanted to, of course, thank you, my dear readers, listeners, for being here and for being with me and for accepting my mistakes and my stupidities. Then I wanted to thank my mentor Stefan and my first fan Keith. And finally, please subscribe, because I've got loads of content coming. I've got a video explaining a modulation domain analyzer, and I've got a crap load of other devices which need love and repair. So, I hope you've enjoyed this installment, and see you soon. Bye bye.